this be now, you're asking? Is it a clip from Blade Runner, an advert for loft insulation felt? Well, who can possibly say? Because the relationship between film images and television advertising has always been a very close one, mainly because those wicked men in red-framed spectacles and ludicrous cream suits are constantly nicking ideas from the movies and sticking them into their own glossy commercials. And this trend's been accelerating lately with a whole clutch of adverts that look suspiciously like the nightmare vision of the future in Terry Gilliam's film Brazil. Well, we're 80s kind of people, it doesn't fool us. We can spot a crib a mile off. But how does Terry Gilliam feel about it?
This. One night I'd come home, turn on the television, and this came on. Ba-bam! I said, I've seen this before somewhere. The thing that kills me about this is that it's wonderful, it's brilliantly done, it's incredible. There's so much more money available to do commercials than what we had to do films, even though films seem incredibly expensive. Where we did it in Brazil, it was Harry Tuttle, the freelance hero, who gets devoured by the system in the form of paperwork. They've got a man in an office that looks very much like the office we've got, and I can't even remember what the ad is telling us. It's telling us that we're free from paperwork. It's just the opposite idea. It's quite extraordinary that a film that is about almost an anti-society film is used to sell things.
Brazil is not a film that's trying to push a high technology future and the wonders of capitalism, but that's what its images end up kind of getting employed for. So they've been twisted, turned around, exploited, abused, you might say.
There have been some very notable television commercials, of which ours, I believe, is one, that have taken an idea from film. And ours, I believe, is in exactly the same category. We've taken a powerful idea within a film, a very good visual idea, and we have incorporated that into what has proved to be a very successful television commercial.
Now, this is Ridley Scott stealing from Ridley Scott and Brazil. It's weird because the look of the thing is Blade Runner, but I think the other idea is much more Brazilian in the way these things are used and the attitude, but it's a nice mixture.
I think what's interesting about Brazil, and indeed Blade Runner, is the way they, as films, tuned into a sort of current feeling about technology. I think it's called techno-fear. That sort of slight uneasiness people have about becoming less individual, more taken over, more organised. But I think that, for instance, in the Barclays bank commercial, they're actually setting up the nightmare image and saying, fear not, we won't let it happen.
Help you there. Take a seat.
The advertising agents, creative team, try to soak up as much of what's going around in mass culture as possible. So they go and watch all the films, they read the books, they read the magazines. They're trying to make themselves aware of what's going on. At the same time, they're looking to perhaps borrow specific images that are popular at the time. So if there's a popular film, they might think this is the way we get across our message about a rather boring product or a rather esoteric product. There's suggestions of Metropolis in Brazil. It's taken on a long way. And then it's taken on a bit further in the advertising. It really manages to encapsulate so many ideas that appeal to art directors. It's a very fine film technically, and that's why it's so redeployed by advertising folk.
I mean, this is, I suppose, it's taking some of the ideas of Brazil, not the details of Brazil, but it's the idea of office work and trying to escape from it. But what do you escape into, is the question. What do we escape to? Oh, God. You escape to another job.
People are becoming increasingly visually literate. They are increasingly aware of what they see at the cinema and how it relates to what they see in television programs and how that relates to advertising as well. So they are aware of the borrowing of images. You can be referential in advertising. And so the advertiser is increasingly thinking about doing that in the commercials they produce.
I think what's going to be very frustrating as the years go by, people who've grown up on television watching these ads, when they actually get around to seeing Brazil, are going to say that I stole all of those ideas from television. That's what will happen. That's how history will be rewritten, but history always is, and who cares?